On the recording from yesterday, I do have access to it. I'm really not supposed to share it out too much, but for my special friends, I'm sure I can find a way to send you the link to access it. And you're welcome. Welcome everyone to the Creative Movement and Folk Dance course. I'm really excited about this, and it's kind of really transformed the past few days to really consider how we can still teach movement outside the realm of a regular classroom. Because when we think of movement, it often involves partners or handholds or other things like that. So we're going to be making a lot of modifications and thinking about how that's actually not too challenging to make that happen in our classroom. So as always, it's great to start with a mindful moment as we inhale the universe. So see if you can join with me. And hold and stretch and release and let it rest. Your hands dangling down toward the ground. And inhale, lifting up the universe with our hands, stretching as tall as we can, and hold. In a moment, your whole body is going to release. What if you could just follow my breath this time? And swaying from side to side, thinking about a loose body, posture, position, feeling slowly, shoulders creeping upward, vertebrae by vertebrae. Okay, let's take a moment if you want to read the message to yourself as we get started today. So, with that message, it's probably time for us to get started moving, which I think would be fun. So, let's make sure we can hear the music. See if you can walk with me. We'll start the music in a little bit, but I wanted to make sure it's ready. Let's see. Yeah. Oh, it's like this big bell at the top of a tower, and you really need to ring the bell, but it's really tough. Yeah. This bell goes this way. Yeah. This way. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, phew. How close can you get? How far away? shoo. Boom, 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 shoo. Boom, 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 shoo. Boom, 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 shoo. Ba, ba, ba. Boom, boom, boom. 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 Yeah, da, 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 da. Yeah, da, 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 da. Yeah, da, 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 da. Digga, da, digga, da, digga, 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 da. Ba, ba, ba. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, da, da. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, da, da. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, da, da. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah. Come on, ring the bell. Now, phew. Can you balance on one foot? Oh gosh. Phew. Okay. This time, I'm not going to use any sounds to help you. Do you think you can still follow along? Good luck. Here we go. You might have thought my camera was frozen, but I was still holding it. Okay, well, let's see if we can add some music. You might already have an idea what this song is, and if not, let's see if you can figure it out now. Thumbs up if we hear the music. Oh. Of course, I lost my headphone. There we go. How close can you get? How close? Are you so close? Oh, and I go away. Oh. Almost lost that one. Uh-oh. Yep, 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 yep. Phew. Okay. Well, you can take a little break, but just a brief one. I'm guessing a lot of you already knew the dance, so if you want to go ahead and share it in the chat, then you certainly can. And there it is. And maybe you said, "Oh, absolutely, I knew it was Get Moving." It was 7 jumps. Sorry, pardon me. And you are right. So let's talk about a few of the things. And if you want to share in the chat, I'm going to keep track of that as it's going along the side. Oh. So, some considerations. It's actually a really easy dance to do on your own, as you might have just realized. Perhaps you know 7 jumps as where your knee goes to the ground and your elbows go to the ground and your hands go to the ground and your head goes to the ground, and that makes 7. And so you layer them on each time. Works really well. Absolutely an idea. And that could even work in a distance learning environment. But here's just another idea with using the idea of balance, which is really important for our little ones. And how do we practice balance? And this is one way to do it in a reaction environment where they have to react to the sound to know when they can ring the bell, which is kind of a fun feeling, and also creates that idea of tension and release, which can be tricky to conceptualize in early childhood. But if we think of the tension of holding and pulling that bell, that tension in our body, we can really feel it. So that's why you'll hear the sound effects that I make. You'll notice we scaffolded on a lot of the things by taking them in individual sections, ringing the bell, just walking in place, just clapping in front, just clapping behind, and then making them into patterns. And then adding the music on top of that. I didn't need to use a lot of words though, did I? It could all be simply taught through imitation and having the students follow along. I don't even really have to say a lot about, okay, this is when you need to echo me, this is when you should follow me. Students are going to naturally do that, especially in the music room. So all we have to do is start moving. Casey shared, I did this with my students and had them do motions to clean their screens. Oh gosh, because we were learning so much. The screens are full of learning. What a fun idea. There's a million different ways you could take this. You could do this dance a different way every class. And I think what also is great about that is our students, if you were here for the responsive classroom course, are going to find comfort in familiar. And in distance learning environments, if you do this dance to start off every class with your kindergarten friends for like the first month or two, but you make variations and changes to it every time, how powerful would that be? It also is going to encourage them and show them that a dance can be done in lots of different ways. So then you could ask, well, what's another way we could do it? And because you've done it in 5 different ways, they're seeing that creativity come from you, so they're going to feel more encouraged to come up with creative ideas to share, which is also really fun when we see that happen. So, here are some essentials. These are the same as the first day in the responsive classroom course, but I really love them, so I wanted to share them again. If you would raise your hand in Zoom, then I will ask you to read one of these. Who could raise their hand? If you don't know how to do it, maybe you can try to figure it out. Michelle, could you read the first one?
Show up and choose to be present.
Allie, can you read the next one?
Speak your truth.
Kim, can you read the next one?
Yes, and not yes, but.
And Alexis, can you read the last one?
Stay out of the swamp.
Thank you for your emphasis there. And maybe you want to share in the chat which one is speaking to you the most today. Maybe it's because it means something to you. Maybe it's because you have a wonder about it, and that's okay too. Well, I think people shared all of them at some point, which is always great to see. So, for our next chat question, what is a hope and a dream for these 3 days together? And in Responsive Classroom, we always start our year with hopes and dreams. What do our students want to get out of music class? And then we as teachers can try to bring as many of those to life as possible. So the same thing happens here. If you share a hope and a dream, then I'm going to really try my best to get to as many of those as I can during our really short, as you'll find is very true, 3 days together. Mm-hmm. Hmm. Thanks for the compliment, Deandra. Okay. It's fun to read all of those as they're going by. Now, what about a challenge? What's something that is making you anxious, apprehensive, as you're thinking about movement in your classroom? And when I say your classroom, I mean the push-in cart model, I mean the virtual learning, I mean social distancing in your classroom, whatever it might be. Hmm. Appreciate your point, Marcus, and I think the next 3 days will absolutely be about what we can do. That is a very wise way of putting it. So when we're talking about space, perhaps you realized that the 7 jumps could be accomplished with very little movement in space. It could all be done in your place. You could be walking in place. You could be turning in a circle in place. You could, of course, add, if you're on a screen, the dimensions of a screen, but it can also just be done in place. And we'll definitely explore that in different ways. But hopefully you're kind of already seeing that come to life, perhaps a little bit, in that dance. So a little bit about me if you don't know already. I finished my 10th year of teaching this past year. I am an amateur mover, which just means I never had professional dance training growing up. I often get asked that. This is just something that came to me as a music teacher, as a pianist actually in college, that as I took my ORF levels, realized how much movement was a part of my being and that I wanted to bring that out. I think often musicians feel as if we are extremely creative when it comes to music, improvisation, composition, letting those ideas flow from us, but that we feel differently when it comes to dance, that we have to do the movement idea exactly as the lesson prescribes, that we teach the folk dance exactly as it's written in the book. But we can move further than that. And we're going to practice some of those things over the next 3 days. I absolutely dance in my room, and if you follow me on Instagram, you know I like to dance a lot. So oftentimes I come down here to the basement and spend many, many hours just dancing. Yesterday I was listening to S Club 7. That's kind of frightening. But Brandy Pace posted that she was listening to it on Facebook, and then that put me down a rabbit hole because it was one of my favorite groups to listen to in middle school. So then I just listened to S Club 7 for like an hour and danced like I was in 8th grade all over again, which was quite a sight to see. So it was good that no one else was here for it. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. Any lesson that I teach also is never the same, and that is definitely kind of my personality in a nutshell, even when it comes to yesterday's Sunday sharing. No matter how many times I practiced it, it's always going to be a little bit different because I'm going to be reacting to the students or the space or my particular place and time, which is what I think we should be doing as Orff Schulwerk teachers. Even if we have a great lesson plan, we can make changes to it and we can let it revolve or evolve around our current space and place. If you don't know much about Orff Schulwerk, here's a sentence that kind of puts it in an elevator pitch. Sing, say, dance, play through exploration, imitation, improvisation, and composition. So if someone ever asks you what Orff Schulwerk is, that tends to be what I say. If you say those 8 words, then you're probably good to go. Today, we are going to learn some practical, simple folk dances with a mind toward doing them on our own. Then, we're going to explore the idea of movement words and how they can build into so much more. And finally, we're going to create some dances, one in a small group and another on your own that you'll share in writing and on Flipgrid for an assignment. So, let's jump in to our folk dances. Taking something we've used before, taking something we've done lots of times, and finding a way to make it new for our virtual classroom or our distance classroom or our social distance space or our classrooms where kids are at desks, etc. So, I'm not going to let you know any of these dances, but I'm going to see if perhaps you can guess them. So with that, we got a lot of dancing to do, and this is absolutely when the sweating is going to happen if I had to make a good suggestion. So, if as soon as you think you know the dance, go ahead and put it in the chat. Whether I'm just teaching it without music, whether you need the music, I want to just go ahead and see who's the first few people to maybe make some guesses, just because it'll be kind of a fun game to do. And I thought of it because I've been watching Supermarket Sweep. It's on Netflix. Did anyone know that? And I thought that this game was a lot cooler, actually, when I watched it when I was 8 years old, and now when I'm watching it again, I'm like, oh, this is what it was? So, anyway, let's see if we can do some dances together. Okay. Bing, 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 bing. Do, 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 do. Bing, 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 bing. Do, 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 do. Bing, 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 bing. Do, 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 do. Bing, 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 bing. Do, 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 do. Bing, 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 bing. Bing, 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 bing. Bing, 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 bing. Bing, 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 bing. Yeah, da, da, yeah, da, da, yeah, da, 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 da. Yeah, da, da, yeah, da, da, yeah, da, 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 da. Yeah, da, da, yeah, da, da, yeah, da, 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 da. Yeah, da, da, yeah, da, da, yeah, da, 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 da. Bing, 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 bing. Ch, 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 ch. Bing, 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 bing. Ch, 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 ch. Bing, 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 bing. Ch, 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 ch. Bing, 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 bing. Ch, 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 ch. Well, let's see if we can add some music. Oop, that's not the right one. There we go. How close are you getting? You're so close. Oh my gosh. playing the cymbals. Can you go all the way to your bathroom and come back? Did you make it back in time? I'm literally going to like the other room. Oh, phew. I almost didn't make it. I gotta see those knees. Oh, my goodness. Well, that was exciting. Phew. And you are right. It was the Fieskern. Okay. Have you ever been out to a farm before? Maybe. Maybe you've seen one. I grew up in Oklahoma, so I used to see them all the time. But if you go to a farm, I wonder what are some things. Like if you worked on a farm, what might you do? You want to put something in the chat? Oh. Phew. Oh. With so many fun things. Okay. Well, let's see. If we wanted to feed the animals, maybe we would scoop some hay. Maybe we would shear the sheep. I don't know if that's at all the motion you're supposed to do when you shear a sheep, but we're gonna go with it, right? Okay. And maybe we gotta milk the cow. Maybe it's like a little goat that you're milking. Maybe it's like the biggest cow in the whole world that you've ever seen. What else could we do? We could drive things. We could drive the combine. I'm not even sure I know what that is, but I know what a tractor is. Okay. Vroom, 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 vroom. Some people said other things, and we got to walk to the barn. The barn is like a mile away from the house. It always is, right? So we got to walk all the way there. Yeah, dun, dun, yeah, da, 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 yeah, dun, yeah, dun, dun, yeah, dun, dun, then scoop the hay. Vroom, zoom, vroom, zoom, vroom, zoom, vroom. Then shear the sheep. Then milk the cow. It's a baby or a goat. Phew, okay. First, we head to the barn. Head to the barn. And next, we scoop the hay. And what could we do next? Shear the sheep. So many things we could do. And after we do each of the things, then we remember we go ya da da, shum boom boom, ya da 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 da. And then we do it. So I wonder if sometimes I might let you know what to do. Other times, you might get to create your own thing. So maybe you have something ready to create on your own. Something you're going to do in the barn that no one else knows. What could it be? You have it ready? Make sure it's ready whenever it comes up. Scoop the hay. And shear the sheep. Next we milk the cow. And the goat. And choose your own. Can you choose your own again? Now we get to take a little ride on a horse. Are you ready? My horse, they want to go all the way away, so I'll see you in a little bit. Does your horse make it back? Woohoo! And scoop some more hay, the horse is hungry. And shear the sheep. Cow. And the goat. Choose your own. There's a storm. It comes. Hurry up. Run inside. Slam the door. Phew. I thought this was a perfect one to do today because I learned this original idea of modifying this dance for a barn from Chris Olson, who will be here on Wednesday, and she's so excited to share some phenomenal ideas with us. But here, I modified it a bit for distance learning and for allowing the students to create their own ideas within the dance. And Rebecca is right. It's the heel and toe polka. And oh my gosh, I look extremely sweaty in this light. But in my basement, there's like no central AC. It's only in the top 2 floors. Like a basement doesn't usually have that where I am. And thank you, Kristen. It's glistening. I appreciate that. Okay. I wonder if we can make a few changes. So see if you can follow me. Sometimes we choose our own or we had our farm motions, but other times our feet might do this, which is something important in the heel and toe polka, right? Do, tick-a-ding, tick-a-dum, tick-a-ding, tick-a-dum, tick-a-ding, tick-a-dum, tick-a-ding, switch, dum, tick-a-ding, tick-a-dum, tick-a-ding, tick-a-dum, tick-a-ding, tick-a-dum, tick-a-ding, stop. See how quickly we could learn that heel and toe feeling just by showing our feet to our students like this and practicing it with non-verbal sounds. Try it again, and here we go. Dun, tick-a-ding, tick-a-dum, tick-a-ding, tick-a-dum, tick-a-ding, tick-a-dum, tick-a-ding, switch. Dun, tick-a-ding, tick-a-dum, tick-a-ding, tick-a-dum, tick-a-ding, tick-a-dum, tick-a-ding, stop. So easy. What if we can do that sometimes and a barnyard sometimes. So we might go barnyard, heel toe, barnyard, heel toe, barnyard, heel toe. What form would that make? Anyone have an idea? You could type it in the chat while I go get a towel. Yeah, exactly. It's just going back and forth with an AB, which AB, great elemental form. But the idea is that after we do the barnyard idea might be to add this in as our next step. So let's try it just a little bit for part of the dance. First we march to the barn. Then we heel, toe, other foot, heel, toe. Then we scoot the hay. Then we heel, toe, heel, toe, heel, toe, other foot, heel, toe. Then we shear the sheep. Then heel, toe. You got it. That's all we have to do. If you want to be super particular, you could do heel, toe, heel, foot back to its place, if you want to demonstrate that instead, because you do have a little bit of a tricky idea when it's going quickly, right? You have heel, toe, switch, heel, toe, right? That switch is tricky, so you could instead go heel, back, heel, back. But in the actual dance, it's heel, toe, right? Slide, slide, slide. When we actually get into the heel and toe polka. So let's see if we can maybe try to add that in. What do you think? We could try it? See how it goes? Ooh. Okay, well let's see what happens when we try to add the slides into our music. First we march. We would go. Yay! So you hopefully see how smoothly it then becomes part of, it leads to the dance and can be done in this virtual space. If you were doing it virtually, the slide gallops would be great. If you're doing it in a social distance space, the side gallops would not be great. So instead, don't do that part. Make the choice for your students and perhaps layer this over 2 or 3 lessons, right? Where they learn the farm animals the first time. They add the heel toe the second time. So, someone's saying a challenge might be for your students to choose which part. Absolutely. You could make different levels and the students could pick which one they want to try or add their own challenges. Like they got to choose their own. So maybe each time they would choose their own farm motions. Or you could start to make other places for student creativity. But yes, that is the heel and toe polka. Okay. Let's keep moving. So many things to do, not enough time, so we got to keep moving, even if we're sweaty. But maybe grab a glass of water, if you would like. What if you can guess this dance? Doom, 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 we could skip in a circle. Can you come with me? Yeah, 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 yeah. Let's try it the other way. Yeah, 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 yeah. Doom, 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 doom. Doom, 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 doom. Doom, doom. Choose your own body percussion. Doom, 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 doom. Choose your own. As long as your body percussion matches the doom, 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 doom. Create your own body percussion right now. Doom, 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 doom. Do you have your favorite one? Maybe take an extra moment and make sure you have your favorite body percussion. Oh, great. I can tell that I am frozen, so I'm just going to wait a moment. Okay, welcome back. I have no idea what just happened, but I thought that my Zoom crashed and I started screaming expletives and then you came back. So that's great. Okay, so what if you could choose your own body percussion and every time you make your favorite choice. So you have it set for doom, 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 doom. So you'll do the same one every time. Do you have one ready? I put it in gallery view. Can you show us? Ready and show us, and here you go. Doom, 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 doom. Sometimes what you could do next is watch in the gallery, often like we would do in the classroom, watch your students and add one of the things that you see them do, which we'll use that a lot, right? So now, watch in the gallery while you're performing yours, and you're going to steal one of someone else's ideas to add to your own. Ready? Try yours again. Here you go. Doom, 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 doom. Did you see someone else's idea that you kind of liked? Make one small change to yours now that adds another idea. Ready and try it again. Here we go. Doom, 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 doom. Okay, let's add the music. And I noticed some people already are on the right track for naming the song. Probably the second you heard the doom, doom, you're like, oh, okay, well, that kind of gives it away. That's probably true. Wait, that sounds familiar. Ready? Okay, look, here we go. First your feet. Body percussion. Let's go the other way. And forward. Body percussion. Let's go back. So, one thing to know, oftentimes we think to ourselves, I've had teachers ask me, how do you ever teach skipping? That's like, I don't know how to teach that. PE teachers teach it, but I never know. Step hop is the perfect way to start. And this essentially is a skip, right? When we're stepping and then hopping on the same foot before switching feet. So as I'm doing it with my feet, you'll notice it's boom, dee, then switch. Boom, dee, boom, dee, boom, dee, boom, dee, boom, dee, boom, dee, boom, dee. And that's a skip. Ta-da! It's that easy. And sometimes we say, I don't know how to teach skipping. It's that easy to teach skipping, I promise you. Doing the step hops in a slow motion. So, moving onward and upward. Okay. Another dance. One last one. If you're not sweaty enough yet, see if you can follow me. See if you can follow the pattern. Boom, 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 dick, dick, 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 boom, dick, dick. Whenever I explore uneven meter, almost the first thing I'll usually do is just simply play the difference between duple and triple and see if the students can follow along. Doom, dick, dick, doom, dick, dick, doom, dick, dick, doom, dick, dick, doom, 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 dick, dick, doom, dick, dick, doom, dick, doom, dick, doom, dick, doom, dick, doom, dick, dick, doom, dick, tick, doom, tick, doom, tick, doom, tick, doom, tick, doom, tick, 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 tick, doom, tick, doom, tick. What meter might we be in if that is our pattern? Doom, tick, tick, doom, tick, doom, tick, doom, tick, tick, doom, tick, doom, tick. Ideas? If you think you know, you can share the meter in the chat. Okay, if we think of them, some people might be getting there. Okay, all we're gonna do is take some steps. Doom, tick, tick, doom, tick, doom, tick, 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 doom, beep, beep, doom, beep, beep. You'll notice my feet is making a little bit of a change there. Follow me, here I go. Boom. Dee, dee, boom, dee, dee, boom, dee, dee, boom, dee, dee, boom, dee, 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 boom, dee, dee, boom, dee, dee, boom, dee, dee. Da 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 dee dee da dee dee da 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 dee dee da dee dee da 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 dee dee da dee dee da 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 dee dee da dee dee. All that's happening when we're taking this circle is we're stepping around, starting with our left foot. That's it. Left, right, left, right, left, right, left. Dee, dee, doom, dee, dee. I never talk about the steps with my students, just that our feet go back and forth. And they'll pick it up much faster than often adults that are musicians will, because they're trying to think too hard about it. So don't think too hard about it. Okay, here we go. Doom, beep, beep, doom, beep, beep, doom, ka, ka, doom, ka, ka, doom, beep, beep, doom, beep, beep, doom, ka, ka, doom, ka, ka. How are we feeling? Thumbs up if we're feeling pretty nice about that? What if we make a little bit of a change, yeah? So we have doom, da, da, ding. Ooh, watch it again. Doom, da, da, ding. doom, da, da, doom, ki, ki, doom, ki, ki, doom, da, da, ding, doom, da, da, doom, ki, ki, doom, ki, ki. If you watch closely, it's just a little bit of a step hop. That same Carnivalito step hop pattern is happening really small in that spot. Watch it with my feet. Doom, dee, dee, bing, boom, ding, ding, boom, ki, ki, boom, ki, ki, doom, ki, ti, ding, boom, ti, ti, boom, ki, ki, boom, ki, ki. Just a teeny tiny that. That's it. Boom, tee, right? Boom, tee, boom, boom, right? That's all it is. Boom, tee, boom. That's it. Da 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 ding, boom. Step hop on. Step hop down. Step hop down. That's all it is. It's so much fun. Doom, dee, dee, bing, boom, dee, dee, boom, k, k, boom, k, k, boom, t, t, bing, boom, t, t, boom, k, k, boom, k, k. Do you notice how much the nonverbal sounds also help? And if you're making them back like our students will, that'll also help you out. Let's see. We are guessing the correct meter. You were right, it's 7/8. Let's see if you know the song. Here we go. Let's head in a circle. How do you do? Take a step hop. I can have the step hop in the circle too. Nice and smooth, yeah? You do it smoothly? Let's try something different. Can you? Like me. Cross. Like the start of a grapevine pattern, right? Our legs. Can your hands come out toward your sides, like this? You don't want to look at your feet. Keep your head up. Phew. Okay, well, I wanted to end with one that I knew would be more challenging. Gosh, am I sweating through this shirt like it's nobody's business? Okay. The dance, anyone have an idea what the dance name is? A beautiful dance. You can find that version on the Shenanigans CD, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. I first learned it from Janie Vance, who was a movement teacher of mine, who learned it from Denai Gagne, who is Greek. And the dance is Greek, if you hadn't had come to that connection yet. Some people are saying that was a struggle. And the dancer's name is Kalamatianos. And we'll talk a little bit about that in a moment as we review all of the dances. Yes, it was supposed to be a little bit of a struggle, but showing that we can do things like this not just for our early childhood students, right? And this dance actually is one of my older kids' favorites because it's tricky. The uneven meterness, and when we do it in classroom, it actually is quite beautiful to see them come together when we do the W handholds and they get really close and they actually really focus and it becomes a beautiful community. We take their shoes are off because they might be stepping on each other's toes because the feet are so close together with that grapevine pattern. So how are some ways you can practice it in your place? Just have the kids practice their feet crossing in front and behind each other, working on your balance when your hands are out like this. Pretty hard actually. But you can also just do the stepping in a circle with the 3, 2, 2, 3, 2, 2. I'll often teach that in a creative movement lens with sports motions. Basketball, baseball, baseball, basketball, baseball, baseball, boop. And then that becomes the 3, 2, 2, 3, 2, 2, which is really fun. But right now we're doing folk dance. We're not doing creative movement yet. So we have spent a lot of time learning all those dances, which was super fun. So let's talk about what happens next as you catch your breath, which is absolutely what I need to do right now. Okay. Hopefully they were all practical ways that you can be doing this in your classroom, which was the idea for this first part of our day together. So, the first one, Fia Skern. Teaching Movement and Dance is the book that I absolutely suggest. Modifications for distance, using the screen. Can they go to this side of the screen? Can they go to this side of the screen? Can they go forward? Can they go backward? Can they go off the screen? And use their aural awareness to come back at the end of the phrase length. And that audiation is really important. If they can't hear the music anymore, but they're thinking it in their heads, to be able to come back by the end of the phrase for the B section. Barnyard Boogie comes from the New England Dancing Masters, also known as the heel and toe polka. Sometimes dances can have hooks, just like we use hooks in lessons. Dances can have hooks too. And I think too often teachers say, oh, this is a folk dance. Okay, class, here's a folk dance. The first step is a heel and a toe, and the second step is a sashay in. And kids don't really like that. So you say, my students really don't really like to dance. And it might be because you're not really teaching it in a fun way. And when you do all the other things you do in the music room, you are teaching it in a fun way. So do the same thing for your dances. I never say, okay, class, here's a dance. I literally never say that. So don't ever say it in your room. Just be like, oh, today we're going to go to the barn. Today, let's try this with our partner. Today, explore this. Just start doing it. And that is going to be much more impactful because then you're not affecting the students' emotions at the beginning by going, oh, great, here is a dance. And I know I'm not supposed to like dances or something. So think about that change in your mindset. Carnavalito, a beautiful dance with the A-B section, thinking about our body percussion additions, that there are places for student creativity, and they could create body percussion to make that really fun in that A section. And then, of course, practicing our skipping. I also mentioned here, you could go off the screen in this piece too for the skipping section and have them skip back. Kalamatianos. This piece comes from the Shenanigans CD. And if you have some things to think about, start with the simple 3-2-2 and then layer things on. I wouldn't teach that little step hop the first few classes with my students. That's really challenging. But eventually I would add it as like a level up. Oh, let's see if we can add this in after we feel pretty comfortable with it. And when I do that with my 4th and 5th graders, it's pretty successful. But don't start it in right away. We can also practice the idea of our handhold without saying, well, if we were holding each other's hands, it would look like this. No, instead we just make a W. What if you could keep your balance? It's kind of like I always try to phrase things as challenges for our kids, which can be particularly helpful for our older kids. Like, this is pretty hard. If you think you're strong enough to be able to keep your balance up with your hands like this, give it a try. And that's going to really, I want to see if I can meet that challenge. And showcase movement and dance as a connection to the strength component of our bodies, because it is. It absolutely is. Okay. That's a lot of information. So, for a breakout, this is going to be your assignment, just so you know, is taking a dance that you love and do in the classroom and modifying it for social distancing, for distance learning, for working with a desk in the classroom, whatever your situation may be that you'd like to try. So for this breakout, you're simply going to start that discussion. You're not creating something right now. You're just saying, well, the thing I'm thinking of is I use Alabama Gal every time. So I wonder if we could brainstorm about Alabama Gal, and your group has some time to do that. So the person who is the friend who will share first in the breakout is the person who most recently danced. So if you, right before this, were dancing to Lady Gaga, like having some fun in the, I don't know, in the shower or in the bathroom, then you're the first person to share. If you're saying, I literally haven't moved my body in 2 months, then that's probably not going to be you that shares first. So again, this breakout is simply a 5-minute discussion on, okay, I'm thinking about doing this dance for my assignment. Can we share a little bit? And then the next person might say, okay, I think I want to choose Chimes of Dunkirk. I was thinking maybe I would do it for a video lesson and start kind of sharing a little bit about it and just having that discussion. Or you might say, I really want to talk about Kalamatianos because that was really hard. Can we go back and talk about that for a moment? And that's okay too. Okay, so for your breakout, perfect. You'll have some friends with you. And it's simply a time to connect for 5 minutes. And I'll pop into the rooms to see how you're doing. And I'll see you back in 5 minutes and we'll continue onward. So I will see you shortly. Options. There we go. And goodbye. So something to keep in mind is for our assignment, you're going to be asked to write out some steps and then share on Flipgrid. And the idea is that then you will have a Flipgrid to access that might have 15, 20 dances in it of different ways to teach a dance in a socially distant or a virtual setting. And how valuable would that be as a resource that we have as a community then have created? So that is kind of the goal, that if you're putting into the Flipgrid, you're getting a lot more out of it than just kind of your activity. You're getting all these other dances to then have in kind of a little, a compendium of resources. So think about if you're willing to spend that time making it because of what you're going to be able to get back. So I hope that that's something you'll consider. I think it'll be really valuable and fun for us to do as a community. So next, we're going to talk about movement words, and we don't have a lot of time left, I realize. So I always overplan, and some of these things will be saved for tomorrow, and that's okay too. So we're going to save this. Let's get moving again because we've done so much moving for the beginning of our class next time, and instead go straight into movement words. There are 3 types of movement words when we consider them with our bodies, and oftentimes we don't always think about the third category. Here we have locomotor, non-locomotor, and stopping words. If you've taken an ORF movement levels class, this should be familiar to you. But maybe you haven't, and this is new information, and that's okay. Take a look at the words below. Locomotor words are words that use space. You're going to move from one place to another in locomotor words. Non-locomotor words are done in your place. They can be done without you ever having to leave this little bubble that your body is in. And stopping words have an ending place or a resting point, which is different than a non-locomotor word, because in a stopping word, there's usually a point where your movement probably has stopped if you keep doing it for an extended period of time. So let's practice those a bit. Yeah? Get your bodies ready. And this is exactly how I practice with my students too. So you can do this with your students for a reaction game. Reaction games, we use starting and stopping, not unlike a freeze dance. And first, the words will come from me and then become student choices. I can use my drum to make different patterns. I can use my voice to make different patterns, etc. So let's use this list you see here. And when you hear this sound, you do a locomotor word. And I'll help you out first by walking. Let's walk. You could walk in your place. You could walk in space. Of course, it should be in space. So this would work well in a distance scenario. We wouldn't necessarily want to practice locomotor words if we had to stay in one place. It would be kind of tricky for our students. And then we could skip. And usually I would change the pattern to something like this. Sounds more like skipping, right? instead I'm just going to keep it like this. And slide. And sliding is when your feet are still on the ground, just sliding between places. And we're going to skip roll. I know you probably don't want to do that one. What if you could prance? Ahoo! A little bit of a different feel to a skip or a gallop, kind of somewhere in between those things would be a prancing motion. And a creep. And when we hear this sound, we're going to do a non-locomotor word. And bend. You're just bending different body parts, or twisting different body parts. Or press, like you're pressing a fridge as hard as you can. You can't get the fridge to move, but you're trying really hard to press it. Come on. Or shake. Or wring, like you're wringing out a dish rag. But what if your body is the dish rag? How do you wring your entire body? It's a little bit different than a twist, right? It's a little feeling different because of the tension in your body when you're wringing as opposed to twisting. So it's going to feel different. And float. A very different feeling than wringing because you're just nice and light like a cloud. When we hear this word, this sound, we're going to do a stopping word. Melt. You're melting. I'm melting. I'm melting. Which is different than fall. Much different. Or freeze. How does freeze feel different than pause? Did you notice the change in your body? Freeze makes me think like I'm freezing for a long time. Pause is almost like, okay, then I can keep going again. Whereas freeze is a, oh, and then when I start again, I might do something totally different. Whereas pause is like is happening during a motion, and then you continue it afterward. A different feeling is going to happen in our bodies then when we use that word. What about hover? Which feels different than perch. And relax. So choose one locomotor word, one non-locomotor, and one stopping from the list below. Do you have your choices ready? Remember, this is locomotor, this is non-locomotor, and this is stopping. Here we go. Locomotor first. Awesome job, everyone. Did you see how simple that was with a drum and a list of words? How you could also do that in your classroom, in a distance learning, when they're at their desks. First, teacher guided. Maybe then the next step after this would be, what could we do that would be in an elemental form? And they say, okay, let's do ABAB. So we're going to do slide, press, slide, press. What about ABCA? So I'm going to do slide, press, freeze, slide. And they start to make elemental forms that connect. And then instead of me playing this, I would say, ready, and A, and B, and C, and A. Done. And now we have a movement sentence that was created starting with a reaction game and turned into a movement sentence where the students then created theirs in an elemental form. So let's try that right now. Choose a locomotor, choose a non-locomotor, and choose a stopping, and make your own A, B, C, A. I don't care what's A. You could say, I want my stopping word to be A. That's fine. With my students, I'd usually first say, let's have locomotor be A, non-locomotor B, stopping C. But we're going to skip past that step, and you get to choose your own. Do you have yours ready? You're probably thinking in your head, okay, mine is slide, press, freeze, slide. Boom, I'm ready. Can you make sure you have yours? Ready, and A, here you go. A, and B, and C, and A. Done. The students then have created a beautiful little movement piece. Very simple, but still very valuable to be working when we're exploring these words with our students. We're going to save the shapes for tomorrow then, which was another idea because I know we're running low on time. So for creating a dance, how you can take your wings and fly. Here's a beautiful quote from an amazing dancer and choreographer, Alvin Ailey. If you want to take a moment to read it to yourself. So we want to do that with our students. And in some ways, I'm doing that with you today, right? So I've been leading a lot of these dances, and now I'm delivering it back to you for you to become the leader of these dances. We are going to skip this breakout and save it for next time, for tomorrow. And your assignment is to take a folk dance you know and love and use in the classroom. If you don't have a folk dance, you've never taught a folk dance before, then send me a message and I can give you a list of options to consider if you have like literally no idea where to start. But I was thinking, as most of us are teachers, maybe there's been at least a folk dance we've learned. Alabama Gal, Chimes of Dunkirk, Sasha, that someone brought up. Any of those kinds of folk dances that are pretty well known. Modify it for distance learning. Write out your new dance and you're going to share it in Schoology written out. Then on Schoology, I'll be posting a little bit later today a way to share on Flipgrid. And this will make it accessible for everyone to then see. And you'll be able to share yourself in a video of up to 3 minutes long of you doing the dance with the music, if you have the music available. And if you don't, then just show us the steps of the dance. And that way, you'll be able to have all of these amazing dances. This is required for their certificate. If you're taking it at the $20 certificate level, it is optional for others. So, it's 12:30. I want to be respectful of time. So, I am thinking I'm going to wrap up for the rest of our kind of like ending now. And then if you would like to stay and discuss this in a small group, then feel free to stay. And we can make a small group or two for those that maybe want an extra 10 minutes to have a breakout where they start talking about, I really want some help with this. Can we, talk this out together? And if you're feeling like I feel confident and I don't need this extra time, then you'll be able to head out in a moment. I just wanted to let you know before you leave that if you're just joining the Patreon family, it is so wonderful to have you. And it has been something that's just kind of been an adventure for me that I was thinking back in March, okay, I have all these YouTube videos and these other lessons. I want to share them and find a way to share them that is both is worthwhile, but also extremely affordable and not a graduate level course that costs hundreds or thousands of dollars, which is kind of what led to this. And it also has been really fun for me because I've also really enjoyed giving back. So there are 2 ways that I give back that I wanted to make sure you know about. One is that 20% of all the Patreon money that I receive goes toward charities and organizations that matter and are valuable, because I am then able to give back in that way, which is really special. So in June, I was able to donate $275 to different organizations that support Black Lives Matter. And in July, 20% will be going toward the Trevor Project. If you don't know anything about the Trevor Project, it's an LGBTQ suicide kind of hotline and advocates for providing assistance to LGBTQ youth that oftentimes, get kicked out of their homes or are dealing with so many challenges that so frequently lead to their death. So this is a place for them to receive support that I think, and that it can be really valuable. So I'm excited to be able to donate to them this month. And that will be ongoing. Every single month, there'll be a different group that receives donations. So it's not something I'm just doing for a few months. It'll be something I'll be doing for into the future. As long as this page exists, I'm looking forward to giving back. The second thing I'm giving back, if this is something that's exciting to you, is I'll be featuring an up-and-coming presenter leader in a couple weeks. So this means you, literally you, have the chance to make a lesson. And if you want to share this lesson and you've thought about, I would love to be someone who works with adults and teachers, and I want to become that teacher leader, but it is daunting to me and I'm not sure where to begin. It was daunting to me too. And there are many teacher leaders, even in the Orff Schulwerk world, that told me that I should wait and told me that I wasn't old enough, or I wasn't good enough, or that I was not deserving to become a teacher leader. And I continued to push forward, but so many people, because I had a few mentors who said you shouldn't listen to those voices. And too often people don't get that chance. So if you would like to share a video and you want to practice, then I can provide you with a small stipend of $50 to make a short video lesson and a lesson plan that I would then share on the Patreon website. So it's a way to start practicing working with teachers. And I would help you with your lesson plan to make sure it really kind of fits well. I'd help you with your video lesson. And then it's something that you can then put on your resume as something that you've then done in a teacher leader scenario kind of format. So if that's something you're interested in, you should let me know. And I would love to help make that happen for you. Okay. People that ask these frequent questions, you can delete your pledge at any time. So if you're thinking, I'm only here for this course, that's of course fine. All you need to do is delete your pledge before the end of the month. So on July 30th, you say, I'm going to leave, and it's been great, and that's fine. If you decide, though, you can change your level at any time. If you say, I want to stay to $3 because I don't want the course, I want to move around because I want a one-on-one conversation with Matthew, you can switch to your levels at any time. If you want the individualized video feedback on Flipgrid, then, and the certificate, because the 10 PD hours is valuable, I'm only keeping track of the people who, because that's extra work for me, of the people at that level, for me to really ensure that you've been to all the Zoom classes, you've responded to everything, and you've completed all the assignments. So I wanted to make sure you know about that. So if that's something you want to do, I think I have a few spots available to move to that. Finally, Rest Music is offering a giveaway. So if you're here after Chris's session live on Wednesday, I'll have a giveaway for someone who's present for a $25 gift card, which I'm super excited to be able to offer. So then you can go buy a movement book for your own classroom. So I wanted to make sure you mentioned that, but you have to be here Wednesday. Okay. I know that we're already out of time. So we'll save, I have so many final dance parties that we'll have to save, sadly. And we'll save it for tomorrow. And other things we'll save for tomorrow. So if this is your time that you're thinking, it's time for me to go, then that is absolutely fine. But if you're also saying to yourself, I want to stay for a little bit to work out in the breakout room, then go ahead and stay. And in 30 seconds, we'll make new breakouts for 10 minutes for the people who want to talk about their assignment. And thanks to everyone who was here today.